So I had recorded a video the other day while I was having an anxious moment, and of course I was in the Jeep, and I typically only record things once, and then they're usually go. I say typically, like I've had all these videos. This is like the third one, and anyway, I listened back to it, and I thought, you know what, I need to spend a little bit more time on this particular subject because I didn't want to put it out there the way it was. It wasn't about being too vulnerable or raw because that's okay. Like, I don't like to do too many takes because I want this to be authentic. It's not scripted. I don't write any of this down. I just speak directly from my heart and what's on my mind. But I was having an anxious moment nonetheless. And, you know, some therapists say write it down. And for me, I was like, I'm going to video. So I did. But then I came home and I was like, I'm going to redo this. So this is the redo. Anyway, while I'm having this anxious moment the other night, you know, sometimes when you have anxiety, it's that you have so much going on, or you're trying to handle too many things, or things are coming at you left and right, and it's just can be chaotic. And so I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling a bunch of different things, and your emotions when you have so much coming at you, you could just be angry, you could just be overwhelmed, you could just be anxious, sad, whatever it is. I was just I don't know, all of it probably. And so it reminded me of when we went on a trip in summer of 2020. We went to out west. We took our RV and towed the Jeep. And we went out to the Badlands in North Dakota, in South Dakota, in one of the Dakotas. I don't remember which Dakota. Sorry. I'm actually navigationally inclined, but for some reason I can't remember which Dakota. But nonetheless, if you live there, I apologize. If you've never been out west, by the way, you definitely need to go because it's amazing. I live in Georgia. If you live in the west, then you better appreciate what you have because it is beautiful out there. But anyway, we were at the Badlands, camping for free on the cliff right at the entrance in a BLM land, which is like free government land that you can camp on. And we saw in the distance a storm coming in. And as we're outside and it's windy already, we're on the cliff and in the motorhome. So we're outside watching the storm come in. So we have all got our phones and things like that. And we decided to get the GoPro out and hooked the GoPro up and caught this whole thing on film, which was really cool. And by the way, I didn't realize until like way later that we didn't have our waterproof case on the GoPro. So it's like a miracle that it didn't get destroyed. I don't even know how that works. But nonetheless, we recorded it and the GoPro still works. So we're filming the storm and I'm doing it on my phone. And as we're watching it come in, there's lightning strike here, lightning strike there. It's just everywhere. And as it's rolling in, it's getting closer. We can't check our phones. We have no signal. We can't see where it's at, what it looks like, where direction it's coming in. We do know it's coming closer. You know, when you see the flash, you count how many seconds until the boom, and then it's how many miles. Well, it just kept the gap of you know, the seeing it to hearing it kept getting tighter and tighter. And so we knew it was getting closer, and it's beautiful in the moment. We're watching it and filming it. And you can hear while I'm filming it, one of my parts where all of a sudden it just like the whole sky just goes boom and it lights up and it's like crazy. And I thought, okay, that's enough. So you can hear me actually stay on the camera. That's when I cut it off. And we go inside. Okay, we're done being out here now. So sitting inside in this little our RV on the cliff, and the storm comes rolling in and it's crazy, and we're having a little anxiety in that moment, and that's okay. And we're listening to music and playing cards and doing whatever, knowing that the storm's going on. Sometimes it's super bright with the flash of the lightning and the loud thunder, and then it's just like dark. But we know in that moment that even though the storm is upon us, that it's going to be over at some point, right? And so, you know, we're in the midst of this chaos, but we know that it's going to end, and we know that as with every storm, in the moment it's crazy, but then it will go away. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you might see a rainbow at the end. The next morning, we wake up and there's the most beautiful sunrise, and I don't know if it was that gorgeous because of the storm. Sometimes, the colors of the sky change through when a storm's coming or right after it's done, or there's this glorious rainbow. And, sometimes you have to weather a storm to see the rainbow. Sometimes you have to get through a storm to see a gorgeous sunrise. And I'm thinking the other day, I'm having this anxiety, and I'm like, it's just like a storm that you can sometimes sit back and look at something even after the fact and see it where it's necessary, or see the beauty in it, or you can see the rainbow or the blessing that comes out of it. Or you can choose to get so caught up in it that it consumes you, and the anxiety takes control over everything you do and who you are and all of that. And honestly, it's a choice. And honestly, at the end of the day, when you're in the moment, it feels like it's never going to end. But you and I both know you've had these moments before. I know I have. I'm human, right? And I don't have them every day. I'm pretty even keeled for the most part. Sometimes I can get a little crazy and hyper, but that's another conversation for another day. But when you're having some turmoil and some chaos, you know that it's going to be over pretty soon. And you'll wake up hopefully the next day and can be refreshed. And it might not be that quick. Sometimes, depending on who you are, it might just be you just need to get into a different situation, a different environment, and it'll change your mood. It'll change your anxiousness. But like a storm, sometimes it just comes out of nowhere and you don't realize it. And there's not an app to find out where it's at and how fast it's moving and when it's going to end and at what speed. And so we have to live life like we have no Wi-Fi, like we have no control, like we have no foresight or insight as to our emotions or anxiety. But the biggest takeaway of this is a couple of things. One is that it's perspective. It really is. We have a choice on how we feel in every situation. I don't care how deeply involved you are in something and how chaotic something is. There's beauty somewhere in there. And you may not see it right away. It may be the next morning for a sunrise, or it may be years down the road after something tragic happens, or after something chaotic in your life, or even anxious moments. But there is beauty. And hopefully you get to a point where you can recognize that. And also, or you can just completely suffer with it. And it is a choice. It really is, because you may not be able to choose your environment or choose that storm that came or choose the anxious time, but you can choose how you feel about it. And it's all about perspective. I love looking at a lightning storm. I think it's so cool. I love the clouds rolling in, and I just think, it's so beautiful. In the midst of it, maybe not so much. But overall, there's so much beauty in some of these chaotic storms, and these chaotic moments in our lives. I just hope that, when you're in the midst of something, that you really just take a moment to know that you'll get through it and you'll move on, because you've been through this part before. You've hurt this much before, and you know what? You're okay. You've made it through that. My anxious moment the other day, I woke up the next morning and I was okay. And just like that storm, it rolled through. It was crazy in the moment, kind of scary, beautiful at first, didn't see it coming, then it's upon us, and then next thing you know, beautiful sunrise. So do kind of like the third mountain, just like I said in my previous video, it's perspective. It's literally just take it one step at a time. It's literally just take a deep breath and know that the storm that you're in, the chaos that you might be feeling, or anything of that, it's not going to last forever. If you choose not to let it last forever. And it's not going to be easy. There's plenty, trust me, I live with plenty of things myself that are chaotic and hard to not get over. You can't just tell somebody to get over it, right? But at the end of the day, you can have some faith and you can trust that you might get over it, and it might be a beautiful rainbow in there somewhere. You just got to take the time to sit back and count your blessings and know that you're okay. That's all I got.